again. Music, music, music is the answer. It makes you groove the best ever. You move, gets better. Music, music, music is the answer. Stop me, brother, and shout me, sister, 'cause music is the answer.
Okay, we're live. So good morning or good evening or whatever you like for the day, the time of the day you are at. Well, today there is the June meetup. We have a lot of things here, but especially we have a lot of people around. We have Lucy next to me. You can see Lucy next to me. But also we have our product team. We have Renaud and Com, and behind the scene also we have Guy who is going to intervene. And on the other side of the wire, we have Alex, who's going also to join us at some point. Thank you for coming here, and it will be a pretty dynamic one today, right? I'm not going to do much, but you are going to code with Lucy with Alex. So that I love that fact. So I'm going to watch, and then comment on what you're doing. But you're doing the stuff, and we'll get more to the outline of this event. But let's start, with Alex. You're with us, right? Do you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Cool.
Can you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I sure hope so.
Nice to
It's
have
great
you.
to be here. Thank you for having me.
have
Yeah. How's the weather over in France?
Hot, I guess, for French
Yeah.
people.
It's been warm here
is-
too. Yeah.
It's the same out there.
Yeah. It's been pretty hot and humid. It's been a lot. Summer's coming in. It's here, and I'm indoors. I'm staying here. I got air conditioning going. I don't know. I'm enjoying that aspect of summer.
Yeah, well, that's somewhere in your side. But there are, do we have people that are on the other side of the earth where it's not summer, it's winter? Probably some people are on the other side. So, well, good. Thank you for reaching out being here in the event.
Yeah.
And I would like to kind of look at, a little bit back to the last few months and see like what did you achieve? What is the good thing that you're proud of that you did in the last few months? To me, there are many things that happened in the last month. I mean, time is going so quickly when you look at the details of what happened. I mean, I know that we released we started announcing the page builder, something that we worked on, and we're going to look at it. But there are many things that happened also on Slice Machine and different parts. But me personally, I feel that now I'm achieving that new level in my badminton practice. I'm very happy about it. So people in the chat, please tell us what's happening for you and what are the big achievements that happened in the last few months. What about you guys?
Well, I didn't know the answer before starting, but Renaud showed me the answer. So yeah, I guess one of the things we're talking about today, which is Next free full support with Prismic, is something I'm really proud of. But more personally, I'm also really proud of the talk I have given in London early in May about Next modules, which was a really fun experience.
Cool. Let's see. Come. Do you have any idea or no?
Maybe an idea here. Me, I'm very proud of the last hiring we had in my team. So we hired a terrific developer that named Xavier, and so he's French and he's already doing like some awesome job in the team. So yeah, that's a huge achievement.
Yeah,
for the
like
team.
Xavier, when I saw him, we had a chat. It was like his first or second week. I was like, I'm fixing some bugs. I was like, man, just take your time to get on board and then learn about stuff. So don't worry, it's not a lot of work. It's just like, I'm fixing some bugs. But I like the spirit that he's bringing. It's cool.
Yeah, pretty
And
cool.
I'm glad you're happy about his contribution to the team.
Surviving winter.
Surviving winter.
I guess.
Well, that's a big thing for you, right?
Yes.
I mean, I know. Let me tell you a little bit about Renaud. There's a time in the year, I guess, around February, where Renaud will go through some kind of, how we call it?
Seasonal depression a bit.
Yeah, seasonal depression, and then at some point he will find out like, oh, it's the seasonal depression, of course, and then some comes out, and then he becomes, as shiny as he is, and
No, it's really
with a good mood.
Get
It's really
this man
funny,
closer to the equator. Let's get him out of France. Let's get him somewhere at the equator. Ship him to Hawaii with Angelo. I mean,
It's
just
Oh,
makes
fa-
sense.
Yeah.
It's funny how you think you are so complex as a machine, like as a human being. You're like rethinking your whole life and all, and like, I'm not happy in my city. I'm not happy in my life. I'm not happy in my couple. I'm not happy in my job. Whatever. And then Sam comes back and it's okay. It was just that of it.
You, Alex, how is going there? What was your achievement in the last few months?
Yeah, it's good. Outside of work achievements, which I kind of get to claim Lucy's stuff and Angelo's achievements and all, like team achievements are my achievements, right?
course.
But I've gotten
Yeah.
into like backpacking and outdoor camping and stuff. I did like my first overnight backpacking trip this last few weeks. So yeah, I've been getting more into that just in time for summer where it's going to be ridiculously hot in that tent, and I'm not going to like this hobby anymore. So it's probably like a spring hobby for me. We'll find out, but. Yeah, it's been fun. Some personal growth there.
Cool. Well, everyone else, also, you can tell us about your achievements in the last few months. This will also get you closer to your keywords because you're going to need them to ask us questions about all the process that we're going to produce here. And maybe we should go to describe that outline that we have.
Yeah, of course. So, well, what we want to do with today's meetup is to do like what we call a quarter wrap-up. So the idea is to share with you and like to highlight everything that we worked on, released, and try to improve this quarter and ship to you. And also talk a bit about the future and the next quarter, what we'll work on, and well, tease you a bit about what are the next things to come for Prismic. In that regard, I will first talk a bit about the open source site. So as I already teased, like this quarter, we released full support for Prismic and Nuxt free. So this means you can now work with Prismic and Size Machine. We have starters for it. We have like a stable SDK for Nuxt free, and everything is working nicely. But also for the other side, for React people in the chat, we also released full support for Next.js app router directory, which is their new like way of coding with Next.js, like something they are pushing a lot.
The recommended way, you know, is becoming the recommended way, right?
It's the default on their documentation.
Default, yes.
So well, this says all that, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, we now have also full support for that. And well, one of the tricky things with the app router was to get preview working with React server component, and this is now working beautifully. Either like whether you're using your website in server-side rendered or client-side rendered, we have solutions for that, and you should be able to enjoy the full Prismic experience seamlessly with Next.js app router.
Yeah, and a big shout out for actually Alex and Angelo and I don't know who else who worked on this to get the preview working quickly, because they had to interact with the Vercel team and Next team so that they can implement it quickly, and there were a few pull requests actually that were involved. So very cool that we made it happen so quickly.
Yeah, huge shout out to Angelo. He was on top of it the whole time, finding solutions and trying to troubleshoot it. Just because so much changed with the app router and how React and Next works, and draft mode, the new preview mode for Next is one of those things. And the Vercel team were phenomenal to work with. Yeah, huge shout out to them. We filed the bug, and there's a nice back and forth. All credit goes to Angelo and the Vercel team though. So it's up and running, and it's working beautifully. So please try that out.
And please tell us if you're using Next and the app router. Well, please tell us what you think of that experience. That would be great to know about.
Yeah, and for the product side, Renaud, do you have things to share with us?
So anyway, through the whole meetup, we are going to guide you through the different new features, new innovation that we just brought, as Lucy said, on Size Machine, but also presenting the new page building experience that we are rolling out at the moment. So you might have joined the waitlist already. If you haven't, maybe this demo and this presentation will convince you to do so. We are opening the alpha currently at the moment, and we'll continue on the next few weeks. So if you want to be one of the first to have access to it, provide us feedback and help us direct the roadmap, that will be very cool. So we'll talk about that, but we'll also talk about the next features and rollout and the future roadmap for the next quarter, and so as a second part of the discussion.
Okay.
So the page builder is our something that we released that brings a more visual experience and a simpler experience to building pages, and it's very tightly related to Slice Machine. So basically, in the beginning, we told everyone, hey, you need to break your pages into slices. And now you can see the actual slices in the page builder. And guess what? Instead of trying to explain things and make just a product demo, we thought like today we're going to make it more practical. So we were looking around and like, what is the best use case that we can use today to bring up these different features and show them in context. And the team came up with there is Figma release its new blog, and if you look at the blog, the idea of blog has changed drastically in the last few years. In the beginning, you would think about it as a place where you list, that is the home of the blog, and it lists the articles in a certain pretty boring way. But now everyone is going towards more experience, right? If you're serious about producing content for your blog, then you want to feature your content in a lot of different ways. Very similarly to if you see here on YouTube, when you go to the home of a YouTube channel for any company or any person, then you will see like there are several lists of, if you go to the homepage for YouTube channel, you will see like you'll have featured, most recent ones, most popular, and then suggested ones, and so on and so on. Well, it's the same thing. If you look at the Figma blog, it has these different lists that are, put one after the other. And if you look at it, really like you have a closer look at it, or more a macro look at it, then you see that they are actually slices. They are just slices. And you have like one slice that is featuring stuff, and then one slice here we see that there is a quote, and then one that has a featured article, and three suggested like for the topic, and so on and so on. So I believe that it's so important if you have a blog to bring into this experience. It's more a content experience than just a blog, because people will land there, they want to see something relevant for them. So you need to kind of feature the content that you have in a way that makes sense to them, so that they find what's interesting for them. But when you look at it, it sounds like a lot. It's very complex and it has a lot of things around it. But when you look at it as slices, actually it makes it look much easier. So basically, by the end of the day, if you implement it with slices, you will just ship a few slices to your content writers, and then they use that to compose their blog home, and that's it. And what I heard that it took you guys, like 3 hours to build it?
Well, a bit more than that, but basically, as you said, like we inspired from the Figma blog that you can see on my screen right now, and like scrolling through. We also took some inspiration from the Figma homepage, which also has some like interesting slices that we could make. And well, we created some slices from that, like inspired from the design on Figma website. And yesterday, Alex and I like teamed up and like worked on like creating a small like a Figma inspired website on Size Machine. And well, we worked on the afternoon on it, and we're pretty happy with the result. And well, basically it looks like this. This is like the final result of what we made. So you can see like it has some Figma vibe to it, like something really like with the background changing as you scroll. And all of that is made with slices on Prismic and Size Machine. And what we want to do today is basically like to guide you through our process as we were working on this website, and explaining you like what the new features we released this quarter like help you towards that goal, like during that process. And well, as with every website we build, that process starts with Figma. Well, Figma or like whatever designing software you're using.
But just before you jump right into it, because I guess here we're reaching the interesting point. You talked about the process of building it, and that's very important, because when you look at something like, it might look overwhelming. Where do I start from? What the first thing that I have to do? And that idea of like, okay, a process. I need a process to understand what's the first task, what's the second task, and how can I break it into different things. That's one thing. And the second thing is like, by doing this process and put in Slice Machine, you'll see not only you will be able to build quickly, but also the kind of experience that you're delivering to the marketing and content people that are managing this blog is completely different. So I guess I will leave it to you to kind of present us with the steps and how you go about it.
Yeah, exactly. So Alex, do you want to talk to us more about the Figma part?
I would love to. And I think what you just said is exactly right. And I kind of want to touch on that. I want to get rid of this dev mode ad. But what you touched on with the content team's experience being very different, that's exactly what I want to kind of highlight, because when you ship slices instead of actual pages, when you give your content team these building blocks of full pages, they're then able to build whatever they want, and you don't need to kind of think in this locked in framework of, all right, I need to design the blog page very differently than I need to design the home page and then these feature pages. Like, you don't need to think at a level that gets into the weeds a little bit, because if your content team can't bring elements of the homepage into their blog page, they might be a little frustrated. Like if they can't have the same CTA that has a similar message, your overall message gets diluted, and the brand isn't as strong when you have very different pieces across the whole website. So here we're kind of, as Lucy said, we just built this, but in this scenario, if this were a real website build, this would be how the design team hands us their slices and say, hey, we went in, we talked with the content team, we found out exactly what they need, and we have these slices ready to be built in Slice Machine. So here we have a hero, we have this text slice with content, and we have a variation here where here the text is on the left and here the text is on the right. We have this great bold quote slice and a newsletter CTA and just a nice little like, hey, sign up CTA. And you can see here how the designers might recommend, hey, to start, organize the slices in this way, and then they might be able to move them around like Lucy's doing right now, so that it allows you to play and feel what it's going to be like when you're actually building in Prismic with these slices. So I think starting in Figma and letting all of the designers, the developers, the content team come and see what the end is going to be like, especially with Figma's auto layout and other features that match so well with Slice Machine and with the page builder, it really helps it click, and they go, oh, okay, I see the power of slices now. We can build this homepage, but then we can build the next page and the next page, and we don't need to put much more effort in because these slices here that we already have are so versatile that they can build endless amounts of pages, right? Like these content slices are already very, very useful. So from there, well, actually, before I go on, just want to kind of put out there that we at Prismic see the power of Figma, and we really see it as kind of becoming one of the instrumental tools in everyone's workflow. And chat, let me know if you agree, but like we see it as something that most major websites are starting in Figma and then going from there. So we want to explore ways to work that into the Prismic workflow.
Yeah, extend on it, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So we are exploring ways to do that. We think it's a super valuable tool, and with releases like their new dev mode, it's easier than ever. Like the fact that Figma now has a VS Code plugin where they're bringing Figma into VS Code, I feel like the path from these designs to your end website is clearer than ever, and we're looking to make Prismic and Slice Machine and all the ways that we've made development easier. We want to kind of pull that back because we've made it much easier to create slices, and then we're looking for, okay, so like how can we make it easier to design and create slices? But that's just a little tease, just to let people know that we're looking at these things. No promises yet, but we're very excited for it.
I know how much you like this topic, Alex. I know it for sure. But this is cool. This is cool. So basically, Figma is great. Slice Machine, we love, people love how we do, and we think they are extremely aligned. Figma and Slice Machine and the page builder, they're all aligned on this kind of idea of components and, moving this across the different phases of building a website.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. So so now we have our designs, Lucy. Here are the slices we need to have built, and now we can kind of hand it over to the developer. So next stage in the process, we have our slices. Now what?
Yeah. So now what? Well, we started the project yesterday, and here it is. And how do we started it? Well, we started it by using one of the new starter we released and made available for our get started page. So now when you get started, you have the choice of choosing a minimal boilerplate starter, either with Nuxt or with Next, like we get the similar ones. And this is just a blank starter with nothing opinionated, just right default and Prismic already configured within it, so it's ready to start and get started from it. And I guess Com, you'd like to share us a bit about what do we want to make of this page when you get started with Prismic and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's new. That's the release from last week, I think. And the goal is to actually propose the best options according to your intent when you start a Prismic project. Could it be just playing around with the page builder and playing with slices and kind of exploring the solution? Or could it be start with a website example in order to explore the code and learn from it and actually pick up some pieces of code and in order to launch your own project? Or it could be also that you want just a simple boilerplate that's actually blank, and as Lucy said, like non-opinionated, that you will use actually as your baseline, because you really want to start at that moment. So we are actually exploring these different options in order to, like, in a few months, propose like exactly the best options that actually our users want. And Boilerplate is actually a first experiment, but we could do a lot more. Like probably, I don't know, like we could explore having a community of users proposing templates. We could explore proposing users to create their own templates and use them in the future.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options actually, and so that's a good first stone in the.
Yeah, the whole idea is like, as I said, how long did it, the first start by asking Lucy, like, how long did it take you? And you know, if today it takes 10 hours or 20 hours, we want it to be 2 hours or maybe even fewer. And that's why we was like, okay, starting from scratch for configuring everything, maybe it's too long time. Can we make it much shorter? So you start right into the fun stuff and you don't go configuring things for a long time. And that's basically the idea, right?
Yeah, and the thing on top of it is that it allowed us to learn a lot on how people are actually using it. So at the beginning, our assumption was like, okay, people are going to start from this and then build on top. We learned that the starter that we were providing were more examples or demo that they could use to learn how to use the tool. Some were building on top, but then through research and through feedback, you understood that maybe just a simple boilerplate was like the way to go, and that's how we came to this idea.
So Lucy, you started with the boilerplate, right?
Yes, I started with a minimal one.
Okay, cool.
And now your next question is like, how did you like it?
Yeah. Like, what can you explain just like what was inside that boilerplate? And
Yeah, of course. So basically, it was boilerplate like the create next app or the create next app, but just like one small step further with Prismic configured inside it. And by Prismic, we mean like mainly slice machine, which, well, Alex, like maybe you'd like to introduce slice machine a bit. But basically, this project is using Slice Machine 1.3.0, which is the latest release of Slice Machine that happened last week, something like that. But the main highlight of this quarter is that we also released Slice Machine 1.0.0, which was a big release. So, Alex, can you introduce Slice Machine for us quickly?
Yeah, so Slice Machine is the development tool that makes integrating your Next.js or Nuxt site with Prismic super easy. It allows you to build slices way faster than you could with our old builder. It really supercharges so many features around slices. So once you kind of understand the concept of slices, and once you see why they're so beneficial to building websites, Slice Machine makes the creation of those slices so much faster. And then it also gives those slices more powers, essentially, than they would have had before Slice Machine. It is like once you get in there and start building with this tool, it is like nothing else I've seen anywhere else, because not only we don't just make it so that we are compatible with Next.js. We make Next.js better. We make Nuxt better. We make it so that we are deeply integrating with these frameworks, allowing you to build slices in isolation and do like there are so many features, and as Combe is going to talk about a bit later, we're adding them pretty much every 2 weeks, and it's becoming more and more of a like developer's right hand tool to just speed up development. So we're going to get into it a little bit, but yeah, basically it is our powerhouse of a developer's tool.
Yeah, and we made a lot of release this quarter, as I highlighted, on Slice Machine. And one of the new features that we're quite proud of is the new page types feature, which is like a differentiation we introduced between like custom types and page types. So maybe Com, you'd like to tell us a bit more like why we want to make this distinction, and like what does it bring to users?
Yeah, sure. So the idea with page type was to say that, so before you had only custom types, and if you could look at a website, you could say, okay, a website, as Alex said, a website is composed of pages, maybe some URLs, a navigation, and a bunch of slices. Even Figma website is the same. And we actually realized that most of websites are actually built of pages, sections that we can call slices. And so we just wanted to Slice Machine to reflect that and to be so simple as most websites are simple. And that not saying that if you want to build a page, you actually have to learn what is a custom type and then decide to make it a page. So that was a bit confusing, and we wanted to build an experience that is really dedicated to building pages, another experience that is dedicated to build sections, so your slices, and probably in the future another one that will be dedicated to build your navigations and all other blocks or pieces that you need for your website. And so page types are out. That's just the beginning. It's like very first version. So today is like not so different than custom types, but it's a very important baseline and start for us to actually make it like kind of a native and very specific experience for you to build the pages. And so Lucy, I think you use them for this website.
Yeah.
Actually, the boilerplate contained a page type.
Yes, so the boilerplate contains a page type, which I have right here. Inside it, I just have a UID, a title, and then my slice zone with my slices. But the website I built also contains a regular custom types, which is a partial custom types. And inside it, it allows me to configure my navigation and my footer with the links I want to be featured there and my social medias and everything. And this is used on the website here to configure the navigation and the footer here with all the links. Another like major change that was brought in with Slice Machine 1.0.0 is the concept of adapters. So on my website here, I'm using one adapter. It's the Nuxt adapter. And basically, this was like an important architectural change for us because it allows us to decouple Slice Machine, so like the UI, the tool you use to build things, from the integration with your framework, whether it's Nuxt, Nuxt2, Nuxt3, Next.js, and in the future, perhaps Svelte, Astro, and all the other cool framework out there you are using to building websites. And well, so now whenever you spin up Slice Machine and want to use it on like a framework you're using, you'll have to use an adapter that will adapt Slice Machine to your framework and make sure it's integrated nicely with it. Alex, perhaps you have a few things to add on that. I'm running out of
I think you nailed it. It just kind of gives us it decouples the logic. Anything that I would say would step on your toes or just be repetitive. So I think you're good.
Cool. And so as I said, we now have adapters, and well, this is thanks to those adapters actually that we were able to release Next free support this quarter, and thank you. So
basically, the thing is also this is an important change for us in the future, but already today it's being leveraged by allowing the two teams, meaning like the team of Lucy and the team of Com, to actually be way more productive in shipping more features from Slice Machine in the size of Com, and in the size of Lucy and Angelo and Alex actually integrating deeply in the framework. That's what gave us the productivity and the capacity to actually go from Nuxt2 to Nuxt3, go from Next 12 to Next 13, then to Next 13, and supporting the app router with the preview. It's basically a very important concept change for us and for the future, but already today bringing a lot of value by providing to you like top class features in terms of integration with the best framework and now a lot of new very cool feature in Slice Machine, as we call it, UI or Slice Machine Core in a sense.
So back to the process. What you did, you started with the, how you call it, the starter?
Boilerplate.
Boilerplate. It got the page, and then you configured it. You added slices to it. Are we there yet, or am I running ahead of what we said?
Yes. So inside our project here, we already have a few slices. Like actually, we have most of them. Those are the slices that are used on our website here, but what we want to highlight today with Alex is like to show you that slices are like an iterative process, and like if you want to add slices to your project, you can. And to do so, well, most of the time you'll get to your designer and you'll ask them, well, actually, like we need a new variation for this slice, or we need a new website section. So Alex, tell us about what you did on Figma.
Yeah, so if I were the designer here, I maybe heard from the content team that, hey, we love this quote slice, right? I was gonna say like a quote CTA, but it's not a CTA. Yeah, it's just a a testimonial slice or a quote slice, but we would love if we could have a version of it that maybe has a different color and maybe has a button so that we can have them sign up or do something like that. Well, here it's actually read the article, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So the design team makes a variation, once again, something that is in Figma. So like designers and developers can speak that same language. And so they create a variation of that slice and just, tag the developer and say, hey, can you ship this variation as part of that already existing slice? So the content team won't need to use a totally different page type. The developers don't have to do a whole ton of work. They probably just copied it over and added that button in. And the developers can go and add this variation as you're going to do. And we're going to see like just how easy it is to add a lot more customizability. Let's say that's a word, to our site, to our page builder. So yeah, it's all set.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So, well, let's get developing this slice. So, as we said, we already have this default variation for the slice, which just has the quote. And now we want to add a button to it with like a label and a link to it. So, to get to that process from the code-wise, I will go to Slice Machine. I can jump inside my slice. And what I want to do here is like I could add the field right here and like let the editor fill them, but what I can also do is to create a variation. So I'll create a variation and I will call it like with CTA. And this will duplicate all the fields from my default variation. So if I submit that, here we go, I have another variation. And here I can add the field specific to this variation. So I'll go add field. And well, I want to label first. I will do a key text, which I will call CTA label. And then I will add a link for the CTA. So here, and this one will be CTA link. So I have those two fields added in Slice Machine. I'm happy with my modeling right now, so I can save all of that to the file system. Boom, it's saved. And now I will go back to my code and like update my slice to be able to render this variation correctly. So here I have my slice code of my bold quote slice. There's like not a lot of code in it. It's mainly like templating. And so as we said, we want to add a button here. So inside my project, I already have a component called CTI button, and I can use it to render this button. So I will go inside my template, and I will start like to call this button here.
But did you duplicate the slice to make a variation, or how are you doing?
No, in the case of variation, it's the same component.
Ah, okay. So what do you do, like some kind of if or some?
Yeah,
conditions?
exactly.
Okay.
And that's and that's what we'll see here. Like I will try to use my CTI button component like this. And what I want to do inside it, I want to render like the label, for example. So I'll do like slice.primary, and then well, where is my label? It's not showing up. Well, actually, you can see here, like it's the TypeScript IntelliSense for my slice. Like Slice Machine is able to generate types for your slices, and like it knows everything, that all the fields you added. But here, because I created the variation, it's not telling me, like I'm not able to access my CTL link or my CTL label here because I'm on a variation, and like those fields don't exist on every variation. Here I'm only seeing like the fields that are available on all variation. So I first need to narrow down and to do an if statement to tell like to be able like to infer the type, saying like, oh, actually like we're on this variation, so I know like types can be more precise. So I do an if statement, and this time I say slice dot variation, and I will check that the variation is equal to with CTA. And as you can see, like IntelliSense already gave me with CTA. I didn't have to type it, which is really convenient. And now if I get back to the line below, I can get back to typing, and you can see now I have CTL label and CTL link. Great. So as we say, like I want to render my CTL label here, and well, for my CTL button, I need to provide it with my link. So we'll define my link value, which will be slice.primary and CTL link. So I can save all of that. There might be a few other things.
Can I just say super quick just how much of a like quality of life improvement that is? Like the fact that Slice Machine is auto-generating those types, and not only is it making it easier for you to then go in and template out this slice, but it's also stopping you from making errors that you might have made if you didn't have those. Like I have built Slice is so much quicker since we had TypeScript generation in Slice Machine. So I just want to say that is so cool. So well done. Continue on. I just had to kind of come in here and go, that's amazing. So
Okay,
keep going.
so I added my button here, but well, I'm not sure it's matching the design. And well, one of the things you can do with Slice Machine is you can develop your slice in isolation by clicking the Simulate Slice button here. And this will open the slice simulator. And as you can see here, we're seeing our slice with some like dummy content that we can edit. We'll get back to that. But we can also see that like my button is not looking what it's supposed to do. If we go check our design, it should be like quite like spaced from the author of the quote, and it should have like this design here. Well, I can add that here. So to do so, I first need to add a theme to my button, which in this case is like a transparent theme. I think yeah, that's a transparent theme. And other thing I need to do, I need to add a class, which I'm using Tailwind on this project to do this styling. And the class is just like some margin top to separate it from the author of the quote. So I go back here, I can save that. And now if I go back to my simulator here, we can see that the button is not showing up as expected. So I can change here if I want like the theme so you can see it better. Yeah, we have perfect. And well, from here, like you're free to keep working on your slice. And also, you can, from the simulator, work on your mock for your slice. So this allows you to test like things like, for example, like is it working with like longer text? Is it working like better in blue? Like what are like, is the theme, like you can like try your slice, like give it content, like the way you'd like it to be rendered, to check and like develop and be sure that everything looks the way you'd like it to do as it's specified in your design. But once you're happy with your slice, that it's working as expected, and like you came up with nice mocks for it to be shipped, you can save your mock, and you can also take a screenshot from it, which will be reflected inside Prismic. So this takes like a few seconds because it needs like to launch a browser to take a screenshot of your slice, but hopefully it should work. Although it might not work because I have it running since a while and it might have died on its own. But well, if it doesn't work, it's not an issue. Basically, it allows you to take screenshot of your slice, like what we see here for every one of my slice.
Just a precision here. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just for the screenshot, is it taking a screenshot per variation, or is it taking just a screenshot for the whole slice?
Okay, so there's a screenshot per variation, because when you're on Prismic, and we'll see it in the next segment when we get to the live editor, we can see like the variation, and for each variation you'll see the screenshot of that variation, so that you'll know like, oh, like this is the one with the video, this is the one with the CTA, and you can like differentiate those. But yeah, I think like Chromium might have died on me here. Well, no big deal.
If you have access to the Figma, you can actually upload it yourself. Like
yeah,
if you
exactly.
want
Also, you can like you can add your own screenshot. So if you prefer to just export your screenshot from Figma and don't take them inside session, you can do so. So you are rolled back a screenshot, and if I go back to my slice here, we can see I have the variation screenshot here, which is shown in blue.
Cool.
And please be nice to your content writers and marketing team and deliver screenshots. I know that maybe you don't exactly need it yourself, but for them it's a lifesaver. Like imagine you're working with components or sections without even knowing how will they look like. That is very hard. Now when they're opening a slice, they want to add a slice and they see how it looks like, that makes them so much more creative. They understand what's happening, and that's very important.
Okay, so well, now we're basically done with our changes. Like our slice is looking as we want it to look. Now what we can do is we can just go to the changes page, and here we can push our changes to Prismic to make this new slice available to our content editor. Yeah, and well, this is to close up our like this section on the new changes we did on the page builder. Am I forgetting anything, Alex or Bruno or anyone?
No, I think you're right.
Right. Yeah, I think you're good.
Okay, so yeah, I guess we can now move on to the content writer part and all the changes we made, and I guess that's time for Guy to make its entry to the show. And well, thank you, Com, for joining us.
Cool. So now we're going to be kind of looking at the way that content writers work within the page builder. Is that right?
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Awesome. Because this is Slice Machine's a lot of fun. The new page builder, just because it's new, it's also a lot of fun. But it's all good. I'm very excited for this.
Right, welcome, Guy.
Hello.
Okay, so, well, just to recap, we created a new variation for our slice. We templated it. We created mug for it in the page builder. We took a screenshot, hypothetically.
We
and
don't
we
do demo effect.
and we
We
pushed
took a
it,
screenshot.
we pushed everything to Prismic. Also, on our end, as developers, we also deployed our website so that it's available. But now, what does it look like on the content writer part? And this is where we want to show you our new page builder.
So basically the context here is like, we imagine now you are going to compose this blog home and add different things to it, experiment with the different sections. This is exactly what we're doing here, right?
And if I may just add, I heard before you guys talking about the screenshots, and in the new page builder, it's something that we're really surfacing as well, like the slice selection, selecting variations and stuff. So it's super powerful for your content editors if you have all the screenshots there and they can see what they can build, etc.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get to Prismic, please. No worries. So, well, here we're in Prismic. We're in our document view. You're all used to this screen. It hasn't moved a lot for quite some time.
For the time being.
For the
for now.
time being, exactly. Because, well, on my repository, I was really lucky. This morning, I called a guy and I told him, well, can I get early access to the page builder, please? And, well, guy was really kind to me and gave me access. And now if I open my document, I'm, well, what is this new page, guy? Can you explain us a bit what's going on here?
Yes, well, welcome to the new page builder. So yeah, I think as Renaud and Sidek mentioned, we're going to start opening up the waitlist and enabling it for people, and it will work as you saw with Lucy's repo, so going through the same document list and being able to open your page, and then you'll see this this new page builder here. And so I guess the big thing that you'll notice right away is this area on the left-hand side, which we call the table of slices. And hopefully this pattern looks really familiar to everyone. So we've been inspired very heavily by kind of presentation software, so things like Pitch, which we use a lot internally, things like Google Slides and stuff. And essentially we want building a web page to be as easy as building a slide deck. And so as a starting point, again, it's a pattern that everyone's super familiar with, how you can arrange things, add things, etc., and get going.
Okay, well, what did we do to get there? What we had to go through to achieve this new page builder?
A lot of things. Where do we start? I mean, I'm not sure if you wanted to quickly touch on in terms of how we're actually generating these previews. So for example, a tool that you've been instrumental in building and supporting us with, which is the simulator, which we're using to generate the previews of all the slices and get the live rendering working.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, when you're installing Prismic on your website, there's a page that you need to create, or that is created for you, depending on where you start. Well, actually, most of the time it's created for you now. And it's this slice simulator page in your code, which looks like this. It's not a lot of code, it's just a page that needs to be present in your code on your website. And this page allows us to simulate slices for you. And we leverage it inside Slice Machine, as we've seen before here. We're able to simulate your slices inside it so that you can develop them in isolation. But now we also started to take advantage of it inside the page builder here. So I have my website deployed, and here you can see when I go to my simulator page, I have this disclaimer screen. But basically I can take this URL, go to my page builder, and I can tell it live preview setting. I actually set it here to live preview from this simulator. And this allows the page builder to render and simulate my slices here in the table of slices. And what's really interesting is that because we don't just get a screenshot of our slice, no, we get much more than that. It actually allows us to show you a preview of what you're working on, and you can see the slice looks just like what it looks like on the real website. So if I go and shorten the title here, it's shortening here. If I replace the image with another image, it's replacing it with another image. hopefully, well, it takes a bit of time because the connection is slow. But here you go. You can see the image has changed, and well, there's a lot of small things here that maybe Guy, you'd like to highlight some of them. Tell me.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess I just wanted to touch on, I think you just demoed it there, but behind the kebab menu, which is a word I learned this year, kebab menu, a special type of menu. That basically that's the main setup that needs to be done once your repo is enabled with the Slice simulator. So again, we'll provide the documentation and stuff, but it's pretty much as simple as that to get up and running. And in terms of like some of the other functionality in the new page builder, I guess one of the things that we've already mentioned is within the table of slices, like the idea of changing variations or adding new slices. So if you can click on maybe the plus button there, just below that slice. Yeah. And so you see you have all the different slices that are available to you. You can use the left-hand menu as well to maybe like click down and quickly jump through. Again, it becomes really powerful once you have lots of different variations and things like that for your content.
Yeah, and to chime in with what Sadek was saying earlier, this is where taking great screenshots is important because this allows your content writer to like compose with visually like what they want to compose on the site. So if they want a section that looks like this, for example, like section that like takes a newsletter but CTA, but you might have different newsletter CTA, like they want that really CTA, like this allows them to have an idea of what they're about like to work on by adding this section on their website.
Yeah, I just want to throw in that like slices were a revolutionary concept and made building websites so much easier. But this compared to the clunky descriptions that you had to use in the old way of building things, it can be difficult to capture in words something that content teams will understand. You get into slices named text left, image right, hero, something like it starts to get really silly after a while, and it's tough. But this, like, you don't even need the words sometimes, right? You can just kind of look and see, oh, that's the one I want, and it's there. So like this is such a huge improvement over the trickiness of what do I call this, right? Like naming things. It's the toughest part of programming.
And I believe that we have mostly developers here. But let me tell you that it has been just a few weeks since we announced the page builder. We got so much positive feedback from content editors and marketing people around there that this is a life-changing thing for them when they are actually building pages. So if you want these people to appreciate your work and you want to make them happy, well, push the slide. Well, use the slide simulator, put this in endpoint, and prepare to get the page builder for them, because that will change a lot for how they work. Yeah, exactly. Guy, anything else you'd like me to try and like to show to
yes.
people? Yeah, tell me.
There are two more things, I think. I mean, one is just a small one, but we think it's like a really cool feature and it's going to save people a lot of time. But essentially, like using the table of slices to navigate in your page. So we had a lot of feedback from our users around pages with lots of slices, lots of content, and finding it really hard to navigate to the right section of where they need to make edits. And so basically now you can use the slice simulator, the table of slices, to quickly select the slice that you want to edit. Again, you have a good visual representation of what it is, and then you click, and then all of a sudden you're there and you can quickly edit your page. And then I guess the last one, again, if we're thinking about how we can make people more productive and more efficient in their workflow, is we've started adding some keyboard shortcuts and things like that within our rich text, and trying to really improve and optimize the experience there. And again, talking about tools that we use and we really like, we've borrowed from Notion. So if you have a rich text, for example, you'll see you have like a / command. You can quickly access different formatting options, and then we have like the toolbar and stuff as well.
All right, I'm sorry.
Are you sorry? You don't have one?
I don't. Well, I do have rich text, but I don't have like multi-line rich text.
Okay.
But yeah, well, as a consolation prize.
The
I
toolbar.
I thought you don't have slash on your computer or your
No, no,
on
no,
your laptop.
It's a weird Windows thing. They don't have slash anymore.
No, well, I do have slash, but like I only have like a
Yeah, I know that.
mono paragraph.
Yeah, so you
rich
don't have a
text.
rich text actually that has several options. That's why.
Yeah, I don't think I have one. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, well, we have
Probably-
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, one of the things that is really cool, like as a user of the current editor, like currently in the editor, if you want to make some style change to a text, like you say, like you want to make this word bold, like you highlight it, and then you have to go all the way up and click the toolbar what you want to do. Now it's closer, way closer. It's like right next to it, to the
Yeah,
rich
that's
text,
awesome.
like what you highlighted. Like we have this tooltip here that allows you like to, well, I want it to be actually like bold and italic, and it changes to bold and italic, and that's really cool.
Hey Lucy, just real quick, do you still have Slice Machine open? Could you just
I do, yeah.
update a rich text field in a slice super quick?
Oh yeah.
Okay, you
cool.
want it to happen live. Okay,
Yeah.
good, Alex.
All right,
but
yeah.
there is another thing. Why you're doing
You
this? There is
Too much.
no, it will be quick. There's something also that I'm hearing a lot of users talking about. I mean, liking. It's a very small thing, but it's powerful. What is it? You know?
Live
Can you guess?
preview.
No. It's just copying a slice,
Oh.
duplicating a slice.
Yes.
They really love it.
Mm.
And actually, you see, like they're at least kind of little because now we have a visual representation of the slice. People want to kind of go take one, duplicate it, and modify it. Sometimes for just the sake of making a variation, try to test. Okay, let me see if the hero could be better this way or that way, and that's already cool, right? And even they are asking us, hey, can you clone from other pages and stuff? So there is some kind of dynamic and experience that it's happening, and that experience wouldn't have been possible if we didn't bring it to the visual with the metaphor, with some kind of analogy that people understand. So it's already working, and the demands, the feature requests that we're getting are right on. So I like what's happening here.
If I may on that, I don't know how much we can talk about like how the sausage is made, like behind the scenes of what was going on. But like Renaud talked a lot about how people like work within Prismic, and one of the things he said is like people duplicate pages a lot, like rather than starting
yeah.
from. And so we kind of apply some of that logic to slices, right? Like it's much easier to duplicate an existing slice and start editing that because you already have the content, etc., rather than like editing. So that was something that came through in the research and stuff as well.
Let me, go ahead.
No. Sorry, I was just saying, like coming through in the research is like people like quickly duplicating rather than always starting from scratch with a brand new
And that's a big difference that we have, me and Renaud. Like I like to start things like from scratch and do them. We're like, no, we need copy, we need to duplicate, and it's like I'm not sure. It's like, oh, let's try it out, and it's working, right?
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is, again, if we go back to the actual to the actual metaphor that we took and that we used as a core concept for the page builder, like if I don't know for you, maybe you can tell us in the chat, but when you build the presentation, like I've rarely see anyone like actually clicking on add a new slice and select the slice template, but just the slide, the slide from the
Always.
deck. Like I see everyone just
Even for
copy
new
paste.
presentations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Copy pasting and like starting from another presentation, starting from a slide already existing, editing the content from a page that they like, and so basically we say, okay, let's try this concept, let's see how it goes, and let's see how it applies for us. And in research, because we do a lot of research, like we actually understood that yes, that's a behavior that is widely spread and that we should
I'm
leverage it.
convinced. I'm good.
Okay, so I went as Alex suggested, and I updated my slice to support like multi-line. So we now have access to the slash command, which allows us to run like H2, for example, which doesn't show like really a lot on my on the small preview. But yeah, we have slash command, and so we can do that with anything now. Paragraph, rich text, title, like pre-formatted and everything. Another thing we talked about is like the ability to duplicate slices. So you can now do so by duplicating your slice by clicking this small like kebab button here.
What is a kebab button?
I don't,
So they all have names. So you can have like a hamburger menu,
I know the
kebab,
hamburger
yeah, and
menu.
now there's the
Kebab
kebab, and then I can't remember. Oh, the meatball menu, the meatball going across.
yeah.
Just a reminder,
I love it.
this stream comes with an Uber Eats voucher, so if you're hungry.
No, that was another thing. It actually came up in user testing. They were like, we really like the kebab menu, and like Anto, the designer, was like laughing. He's like, so funny. And then we like, no, this is a really common thing in design. And then like everywhere these icons have names, and there you go.
I love kebab.
I don't know if you actually went to. So you created a new slice and you created a new variation. I don't know if you actually went into using that variation, Lucy, because you're playing a lot with it. But like, did you use it? Did you show how it works to change the variation?
Yeah, well, actually, I don't know, so I'll try to, well, I know how to do it.
You don't know? Okay, but then try.
We have our little, like, quote here, like, from a client, and we want to add a variation to it. So I guess I will click the kebab button, change the variation, pick the one I want with the CTA, and now I have the CTA field here, which I can start adding, so I can do, like, click here. And, well, I will redirect to Prismic IO. Here we go, and now we can see like there's a button in tiny here, which, well, I'm sure will provide a way to zoom in and see what's actually going on sometime later, but baby steps.
Yes, so a lot of teasing today. Like I'm going to have to manage expectation for 6 months now, saying no to everyone now that you've said like, we are going to build all those cool stuff. But yes, that's cool. That's something that we hear a lot also. So Sadek talk about, like, for example, feedback that we have a lot on, like, duplication and all this kind of cool stuff. The one that is coming, like, I guess the number one requested feature is actually in there. Like, can we get a better vision of what's happening? But maybe you want to talk about it a bit, Guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's becoming pretty clear again from all the feedback around having a larger preview. So that's something that we'll look at. And again, I mean, we have.
Well, how about that? How about that? Like, we brought something, people like, make it bigger.
Yeah,
we like it.
No,
right?
it's cool, and that's great for us. And I guess there are two things. So I think like Renaud and Sadek will introduce like some of the roadmap for the rest of the year. So hopefully there's some things in there that will be pretty exciting for people and kind of understand. Like we have a lot on our plate, but I guess we also kind of believe in terms of like a slightly like path dependent roadmap. Like we're not going to say, oh, we'll absolutely do everything. Like if there are things that people want or need, or like there are optimizations we think we can make, then we'll certainly like consider it. And that like doing things in the table of slices is definitely something that we'll consider based on user feedback and everything that's going on.
All right, so that was it for all the demo we'd like to show you today. Just as a quick wrap up and a summary of everything we went through, this quarter released is first of all, we got Next 3 and Next 13 app directories full support for Prismic. Then we got Slice Machine 1.0.0 with the new page type and the new adapter concept, which will allow us to support more and more framework in the future. And finally, we have the page builder, which is in pre-release right now and awaiting the waitlist.
I got a little bit disconnected from the chat because of the enthusiasm and seeing the page builder in front of me. But what do you think? Should we go into the roadmap first, or should we answer a few questions? There are very relevant questions out there. Let's take a turn. Yeah. So there's a very interesting question here I have, and I'm not going into order. So Owen is asking, I run a web agency creating client websites using Next.js and React. How much faster can I produce websites by taking advantage of Prismic? It's a very good question, actually. We believe, and not only we believe, it's our goal that we make agencies much more successful. Okay, that's on our roadmap. There is a team, dedicated team, product team that is on that actually, and
partnership team. So not only product, but actually people that are here to advise agency on how to perform better.
And the question is, how can you perform better? Well, first of all, if you deliver this experience as in the page builder with the slices, your offer, what you're bringing them, other than all the design and the experience and the brand, whatever your agency is already bringing them, you're also bringing this kind of app, this kind of experience that allows them to build pages with more freedom. Okay, that's extremely important. So your offer got just much better by using slices and Slice Machine and the page builder. There's a big distance to anyone else that is delivering to your client. That's a big one. But of course, there is the productivity that you're asking about. And I believe that, is there any strong estimation on how much time you're going to save? Well, I don't have a kind of strong. Well, we want to study that and see how much you save time. But let me tell you how you save time. You save time because you're already not redoing the work for every single page. You produce slices and then you use slicer across pages. That's much quicker. So you are not duplicating work. The other thing is that you can, as an agency, have a set of slices, the basic slices, that you have it, and you don't put a lot of DOM and CSS, almost nothing in them as a styling, but you have these slices for every project. You start from your own framework, your own base, your own foundation, so you can get up, start and running very, very quickly. So that's also a big optimization. And then there is the whole process of using Slice Machine that facilitated a lot of. Did you see us doing any data connection or API calls or any of that? No, none of that has happened. You just configure a slice, you go back to your code and CSS, and you start just putting the placeholders of the text in the right place, and that's it. You're done, and then you push it. That's all what you have to do. So you're focusing on the right thing. You're focusing on where you add value instead of like going into connections and API calls and all these kind of things. So that's also a lot of time that is saved.
No, but even in our study, what we see also is that the new page builder is also drastically simplifying the actual handover and the actual onboarding of users, so simplifying the training. So this is somewhere you'll win a lot of time. But anyway, that's, as you say, that's a strong commitment in the future toward like on top of already what you described, like building more so that we make you even more productive. We simplify the relationship with your customer, and so like in the long run, and what we see is that actually now this new page builder is also creating some kind of need for more, and that's something that we want to.
That's very important.
That we want to put emphasis on like your project is not done when it's being shipped for the first time, but like if you actually have a system and a CMS that serve the need of your of your customer, but on top of it, create some kind of willingness to crave for even more slices, even more items.
It often happens in agencies where like, okay, then the client asks, hey, can you add me a slice for call to action for this and that? And then you add it, and then this is really great, but if you can add also another thing, so it makes it, the relationship becomes much more dynamic with the client. Right?
And so for you, it's good, better partnership, more business, and the longer term relationship with all your customers. So win-win.
Yeah, and you guys, I mean, I'm talking to the agencies and freelancers there. You make us successful. We are committed to make you successful as well, more successful than anyone else. So that's our commitment, and we want to deliver, and we delivered already, and we'll continue delivering on that. So that's one of the questions. Thank you, Owen, for the question. Go ahead.
We don't hear Alex. We lost his audio. We lost Alex. We don't hear him.
We lost Alex.
We lost Alex. So tell him. He hears you, but
I will tell him.
okay. Yeah, I
So-
told him already. And stuff.
So
Okay.
We lost Alex. We don't have it.
okay, so the thing is, they can reach out to actually the agency webpage. We have an agency webpage.
So
on
maybe
the
repeat
website.
the question. I guess people didn't hear the
So
question because we lost Alex.
It seems that the sound of Alex is not passing here. So the question that Alex just asked is where can Owen basically reach out to us to get to know more? And so the best place to do so is actually on our website. We have a page that is /agency, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
That no.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So /agency that allow you to basically get most of the information related to the agency partnership program, what we provide for agency and what is the value that we provide there, and reach out to us if you want to basically join the partnership program. So Owen,
Cool.
please don't hesitate.
Also help us with the research that we're doing, because we are asking a lot of questions for agencies and how to improve. Go ahead.
No, that's perfect. So like if we can add actually the the research panel, the link if you want to join us in the research, like you should
And
have
tell
it
us what's
in
important
the
for
chat.
you to improve your business.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So, okay. Another question, very interesting, from, I guess, Charlene. I have a question. Content creator does the content creator have the possibility to change CSS variable as color background and so on, or it's kind of a variation also?
Yeah.
So I would like us to address like the topic of CSS, and should they change, and what do we offer for flexibility, and that topic.
I can go, you can go, whatever. I go. So generally speaking, I'm gonna talk generally and then go very specifically after. Okay. Generally speaking, the commitment that we have as a product for Prismic is that we ensure brand consistency. So we are not encouraging like to have a high a full flexibility and full freedom on configuring like the way the website will look, because we think that it can prevent and brand consistency and harm the brand. Like if I tell you our main color today at Prismic would be this white and some kind of secondary color to get the button, I don't want any content marketers to actually put a blue or put a red that doesn't fit my design guidelines. So really what happened, and the way we advise to do that, is that you define a design guideline with your designer that then will provide you the kind of possibility that can be done. So we saw it with Lucy, for example, on the call to action, and maybe we'll go there. The options that we decided to provide as a designer were like a small set of color that you can use as the background for the call to action. I don't know if we can show it in the screen, for example. And basically the way they are being provided is through a select that we can see.
Yes. Okay.
Here.
Sorry.
No.
It's for this one.
Call to action. Yeah. That provide a set of different color that basically fit my brand and ensure that basically I can provide flexibility while at the same time not harming my brand. Now, generally speaking, the way tokens, design tokens, and items related to styling are being managed in Prismic, we don't feel it's perfect. We think that we have something, we have more and more needs around theme. How do we provide those tokens? And basically, it's kind of unclear when to use a variation, when to use a select field, for example, and that's a subject that we have in the back of our head that we want to find something more suitable and more detailed in a way to manage that. For now, a composition of select plus variation is what we recommend to our customer.
And it's pretty good. I
Yeah,
mean,
for sure.
I mean, I understand we want to do something
To do
more clearer for people so they don't have too many choices
Exactly.
and you get lost with the choices. But again, set up themes because it's controlled. You still give flexibility, but it's very controlled. And use variations. And it's if you have a case where you want to put a color field for visually displaying something, I think you need to think twice before giving that, because the whole thing is like you want the website to be always consistent with the design and with the brand, and giving these options is going to kind of break that kind of consistency.
And generally
we have Alex back.
Generally speaking, using talking to your designer on what are the possibility and the guidelines that you want to provide is like the best way to go, so that you ensure that at the same time you get flexibility and you ensure brand consistency.
Cool. So you want me to take more? I mean, I have a lot of questions, so I don't know where to stop. Yeah, here's a question. Again, Charlene, is it possible to restrict the use or force the position of certain slices depending on the page? So would love to hear more about the use case, because it's hard to answer that. But there is one thing that we're experimenting with. I guess maybe you can talk about that.
But there is a question: can we restrict the use of slides depending on the page type and the template? For example, if you have slides that are specific to blogs versus slides that are specific to page, you can do that already. That's just simple. When you create, exactly, when you create the page type in Slice Machine, just select what are the slices that you can use in that type. For fixing a slice to a given place, as Alex said, we are studying different use cases because we are getting some people that are asking us that. The one that is coming often is actually, can I get a slice at the top that will never move, like a hero, and use a few set of variation for that hero? Let's say with a big image, without a big image, with an animation, with a video, whatever.
But you want it to be fixed at the top.
Exactly, and you want it to be always at the top and not usable somewhere else. And so that's something that we are looking at, that we again have at the back of our mind, that we consider at the moment, and that are in the set of experimentation that the team is looking at around page type. Because as Com said, and maybe this is going to be something that we'll expand on the roadmap part, page type is just the first step in a broader direction that we want to take, and so we are experimenting with that currently.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, I think we might want to get back to the roadmap part.
Okay, last question. It's a tricky one. I would like you to have a tricky question today. Colby says, this will provide an amazing experience for content writers and clients. Will tables and custom formatting for rich text be available? Ta-da! Was too easy for you today. I had to bring up something.
No, I mean, I think sorry, I sided. That probably sounded really rude. basically, like one of the things around like the new page builder and kind of like the strategy that we've taken is it should be kind of easily extensible and easy for us to add new features. And so, for example, regarding the rich text, we have a pretty good idea of things that like people want and need, and a good idea we think of like how we'll get there. I mean, there's still some stuff we need to do in terms of like any changes we make. Obviously, there's an impact on Slice Machine and the other parts of the product as well. Everything's connected. So we kind of have to make sure that we're ready to handle the work on that side and stuff as well. But it's not on the kind of like 6-month plan, but I would say in the kind of, you know, next 12 months or
Guy,
something.
he I don't know. You saw what happened here, right? Do you agree with that?
So,
You disagree?
no. I agree. So generally speaking, I don't like to commit.
That's why
after
I know that.
3 to 6 months. No, that's okay. That's okay. Like generally speaking, anyway, we know that you've been extremely patient on those things. And we ask like your patience in order to do 2 things: build the team and build the tool. Because we didn't want to iterate on actually the previous editor. We really wanted to refresh it completely so that we do 2 things: provide a better experience, but we can iterate also faster. And so, like in our internal vision discussion that we have, it's clearly something that we discuss all the time, that we consider and that we are having. But that's the part that maybe people don't like. But for the next 6 months, that's not the focus. And clearly, like the focus we are being able maybe to transition now on what is actually the focus on the next 6 months for the page builder, because we have a very already ambitious roadmap, and at some point we need to do choices. I'm pushing on Guy to say, can we do those kind of formatting things? Yes, but if we do it, maybe we don't do that, and so we have to take decisions.
Yeah.
And here is the thing: if anyone from you guys on in the chat that are watching us today, and you have, if you are, you know, you think you can help us in any way by already in the research and all of that, but also if you want to join Prismic and you think it's a good place for you, where you want to work on this kind of problems and challenges, or you have any friend that you think that it will be a great fit for us, well, you know, you can apply, and that will help us move even faster. So that's also one thing that you can help us with.
Yeah, but I guess on that point as well, like we do read all the feedback on like product board and the forum and stuff as well. So like keep telling us what you want, what you need, and it does help us prioritize and stuff what we work on.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Well, Lucy wants us to go back to the plan.
So
you seem very bored now.
I'm fine.
No, but if we go back, it's a very good transition basically on the plan. And so I'm going to introduce quickly the plan, generally speaking, and the vision where we are going with Prismic more generally, and maybe Guy will expand on the page builder. The thing is, as a company, basically, and talking to you, because we talk to you users and customers a lot, the thing is, we understand that basically in the scope of CMS, like we are making things very, very complex, while basically the way you are envisioning them, it's very simple. So it's very complex. It's very tough to create a simple product. But like what Com was saying, basically, when you build a website, you build pages. When you build your pages, you build sections. What you need to manage your page is actually a set of sections, a URL, and then you need to build navigation. And so generally speaking, the whole work that we are doing in the next 6 to 9 months will be focused on that, on basically taking those very simple concepts and bringing them to everyone. Meaning on the developer experience, focusing on this page type experience, meaning what does it mean when you create a page? You should be able to create slides very easily with templates. You should be able to manage your routing and your URL for the pages very easily. We should be able to differentiate and to understand like how do you create a navigation very easily, and you have a good experience to actually edit the content for those navigation. So that's the whole direction on the developer experience part.
Things should be simple, you know.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, of course, headless CMSs came from technology and SaaS and the API and CDN and all of that. But then we look back and it's like, okay, websites are what? What is website? A page and a section and navigation and these kind of things, and they're pretty obvious. And let's go to that kind of simplicity.
And the thing is that if you look at the other actors in the market, actually, like for example, the framework with whom we integrate, like Nuxt or Next, they are kind of like trying to come back and figure out like the simplicity of those stuff. Like what makes Next and Next so great is like, okay, they change some stuff to increase the maybe their reach, but like you have a page folder, that's where you create your page. The routing is very simplified thanks to the page. That's the same for Next and for Nuxt. You have your component there. So the routing is simpler, so we should integrate with a simpler routing. All this, the navigation should be managed properly so that when you do it once, it doesn't refresh and it doesn't reload every time you change the page, etc.
Yeah.
So
the basic stuff. Right?
Exactly, the basics. So that's where we are going with Slice Machine and developer experience, generally speaking. It's like we need to make you very productive, and we need to basically get the newcomers at ease right away when they enter Prismic. And so that's the overall strategy that Slice Machine and on the developer side we are taking. Okay, so you can find all this in the Prismic.io/progress page. You'll find everything that we are planning to do basically, and we are going to continue updating that page so that it gives you clarity on that front. The other, before we jump into the page builder roadmap and what we are doing, like if we stay on the developer part and it connects to agency too, what we saw is that already, even though we have some complexity, a lot of people love Prismic. But there is some friction points, very annoying, that prevent them to basically create more projects with Prismic. And the main one that came up with our research with agency, for example, was migration. And so the migration topic is basically all the people that say, I love Prismic, I would like to use it more, and I would like to use it on all my projects. But actually, when you come down to having a more solid project, a bigger project with many pages, like it's a mess. And basically, I just don't use Prismic, guys, because of that. But if you solve that problem, I will use it more, and I will be able to basically create even more good projects for my customer. So in the next 3 months, we are committed to basically create a first version of a product to solve this problem. So again, if you look on the progress page that we are providing, we are working on a content migration API. So an API that will allow you basically to create programmatically drafts in Prismic in order to facilitate that migration. And that's something that we want to solve for all teams using Prismic, agencies or not, and basically simplify that work. So on the developer side, a lot of very cool new enhancement for Slice Machine, plus a new, very exciting content migration API that will allow you to basically create more projects with Prismic at ease and remove this kind of very annoying process when you try to build a project with Prismic.
Yeah, I mean, I believe I like to say that here, if you have projects, okay, from clients that are big and you know they are on WordPress or whatever it is, something else that they are using, legacy system that they want to move from, and you need you like what Prismic is offering with slices and the page builder and all that. Guess what? It's possible that you migrate. It's going to be possible. We're going to work on that this quarter, actually. Then well, we're not there yet, so next quarter, because we're not July, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the next 3 months.
In the next 3 months. And it's going to happen. So it's just a simple API to be able to kind of inject content from these kind of things, and we're committing to this.
Yeah. And so the same way as we did for the page builder, and I guess it's going to be a good transition, we'll announce it. We'll look for people to basically beta test and help us like improving the product and engage you in it. And so stay tuned. We'll present that and we'll reach out when we need your help.
Cool.
And so on the page builder, guys,
Yes,
what are we
yes,
going
yes.
to do?
Great question. I guess there's like 3 kind of like work streams. I sound very like producty or whatever when I say this stuff, and sometimes I have to catch myself, but I don't know how to speak.
It's okay. You can sound serious.
I
it's
can
fine.
sound serious. Okay.
You were just talking about kebab menus and all
Yeah.
that. Now let's see the product manager guy.
Okay. So I guess the first one for us is like we have this idea of we want the page builder to be available to everyone. And the reason why we're in alpha and the reason why we won't be opening it up right away is the first release won't have all the features that are currently available in Prismic. And so one of the kind of key things for us is getting to like feature parity. So things like roles, locales, integration fields won't be available as part of the first version. But again, we're going to kind of be working on the stuff and slowly releasing and getting to a point where we can get this tool to everyone. Obviously, if people want to use it without those things, then they're more than welcome to, but it's just setting the expectation that it's not there to start with. The second thing for us is kind of around the experience of the page builder itself, the new page builder. And so one of the things that I'm personally very passionate about for the new table of slices is having a drag and drop. So that's something that's in the plan that we want to kind of ship after this kind of first release. So it's an expectation that everyone has, again, for this kind of like pattern of like presentation software. It's standard. So we want to have that and support that. So we want to let everyone know, don't worry, it's going to come. And then also we want to make the new page builder responsive. So, you know, people need to edit or change things on the go. It's an expectation, you know, for the websites that people are building it across most apps. So we want to make sure we're doing that as well. And then I guess the really kind of like big ticket items for us that are going to take a while, but we're kind of committed to we are committed to working on the media library and the search. So we're working on the design of the media library at the moment. We're pretty close to
a lot of people
what we
were
think
waiting
it, what the kind of design is and things like that, the UI and the UX. And then I guess like for us, the problem that we're trying to solve, or what we're really trying to optimize for, at least to start with in the first kind of iterations, is like it should be really easy for you to find the media that you want to put in a page or in a document. So, you know, that's the expectation, right? Like if I want to put image X, that I can find it straight away. And then we can kind of leverage some of the stuff that we'll be working on with the search to hopefully fix the search and the page builder as well. So when you're searching from the document list, when you have a content relationship, all that sort of stuff, that again, the search that you perform sort of aligns with your expectations around the results that are going to be returned. So we know those are things that people have been waiting for, and we're committed to working on those.
Cool.
So basically those are the kind of decision that we took and arbitrage that we took by looking at feedback. So we had to wait in and to choose between tables or rich text formatting options that are lacking,
or media library
and search. We went into those kind of items that we think like at the moment with our study were like the most important to do, but it's not that we don't want to touch to those items, the rich text rich text options or tables and stuff like that. That's something that ranked actually very, very high too. We just had to take a decision, and it will be most likely a quick follow-up after that.
And repeating again one more time, if you think if this is bringing value for you, if you want more, okay, you can help. We can increase the bandwidth of the team by hiring more developers, front end, back end, anything, right? So again, if you can refer friends to us, go to Prismic. There's a jobs page, and then you can refer people, and we'll be very thankful for you or yourself if you want to join us, and that will increase the bandwidth and will bring more stuff. So we're open for that as well.
I just want to take a minute again to invite you to go to the progress page on top of that, and to also, I think, congratulate the teams also. I'll take that moment to do that. Like we know that you've been, you as a user, extremely patient in those kind of expecting those progress, being challenging us, like really committed to help us being better. A lot of work happened in the background of not only like taking on your feedback, but building the team, building the capacity and the organization to actually support that. And basically what we are sharing with you, like for the next 3 to 6 months as a roadmap, I guess is the most ambitious roadmap that we were ever capable to commit to, but also to deliver, because I have strong confidence on the fact that we can deliver. And so
and especially finally there is a CMS that is delivering experience. And we think that we are the CMS that is going to deliver more than just a technology, more than just API, an experience, a building experience and a publishing experience. So we're very proud to be in that place and to be the CMS that is delivering to that. And that's with your help, all the input that you brought. You believed in this system of slices, on the concept, on these kind of things, and we want to push it further. Let's do it together. That's basically the idea.
End.
Cool.
The end. No?
This is the end.
Finish on
you
that.
drop your mic now. Is there anything you guys want to add? I know, Alex, you're still around.
I'm still here. Can't get rid of me that easily.
I saw you. I saw you were very happy about the fact that we're announcing like we're working on the search and the media library.
Yeah, I mean, longtime Prismic users know that, just being frank, those things definitely could use, an upgrade. And I'm just excited for that to come. Like, I mean, I think both Chat and Renaud and Guy touched on, there's a million directions that we can go in, right? Like everyone has great ideas for what we could add. I do want to say that, you know, in addition to the opportunity cost of like, okay, well, if we work on search, that then takes us away from this other thing, right? Like we can't build everything at once, as Sidek said, unless we hire all of the people in chat to come work for us. But the other aspect that we take very seriously and is always at the front of any feature consideration is, will it slow down our API, right? I saw, I forget who it was. I think it was Jeff asked about, sorry, I'm just pulling it up, multiple repeating zones in slices because they made a carousel for the client. The repeater was good, but then the client wanted to add multiple buttons to that slice. So, some things like if you have nested on nested on nested things, that might introduce a complication in the API. So we want to make sure that that is not going to be a problem and that like this new feature happens to slow down every one of your requests, right? Or that it complicates Prismic to the point that new developers are lost, old developers are lost, content teams are lost, right? So it's always a balancing act, and I don't envy Renaud for having to balance all those different decisions and figure out like that's a really powerful feature, but at the same time, is it too powerful? And now Prismic is inaccessible to pretty much everyone. So just want to say, chat, it's not so much that we don't want to build these features. It's just constantly trying to find that balance of still trying to make Prismic a very simple interface so that when your content teams drop into it, they're not overwhelmed like they can be in some other CMSs. But also giving you the power to build the experiences that you're trying to build for your clients, because we know that as time goes on, websites become more and more like experiences. You need more features. You need to create a better end product for your client, and then they need to create a better end product for their site visitors. So we completely understand that it's just constantly this kind of balancing act. So that's all I wanted to add.
That's great. Very nicely put on that. Anyone else want to add anything to that? It has been a very great meetup. We've seen a lot of things. We talked about a lot of things. It has been an hour and a half. Thank you for everyone that watched us and for all the comments. There are a lot of questions there. Some of them we didn't answer. We didn't have the time to answer. But we're keeping up with this, and you will hear more and more from us. And let's go and build this together. We're into something big, and we're bringing experience into the CMS for building websites, and together we're building something new. So we're on the right road. We got something out, and we'll continue doing it. Thank you, everyone.
See you next month.
See you next month. Yeah.
Bye.
Yes.